Michael Wilbon, pardon the interruption. Hi, Mike.
Dan, how are you?
I'm good. I thought Mayweather looked really empty.
I haven't seen the whole thing yet. I saw the excerpts here and there, or caught 3 minutes, two minutes here, and you know what? I can't figure out. Man, Dan, we don't have anything in common with Floyd Mayweather. What are we measuring? Well, I mean, what's the relative? The relative similarities between us or anybody we know and Floyd Mayweather.
Well, he's entertaining. There's no denying that. He's a great businessman, but I like how he'll liken himself to Muhammad Ali and then I think Martin Luther King, right?
I mean, he has no sense of proportion. He has no sense of. I have essentially one problem with Floyd Mayweather. And I said this when it came to the whole him comparing himself to Muhammad Ali and Ray Robinson. They didn't duck people. The great thing about the most honorable thing about the fight game to me is that real fighters don't duck anybody. Muhammad Ali didn't duck anybody. When he should have been running the other way at 21 years old from Sonny Liston, he fought him. Ray Robinson didn't duck it. These guys fought. They'd schedule a fight for a week out. And Floyd Mayweather, who I think will win this fight, I think he would have beaten Pacquiao 7 years ago. He ducked him. He ducked him for years.
But why did he duck him?
Because he didn't want to have the potential for a blemish on his record. Who knows?
But this would have been the third fight. This would have been the trilogy, Mike.
Yes, it would have been. Yeah, but he didn't want to do it. It was not like Pacquiao didn't want to do it. Well, you know what he says, Dan? He says that it was the drug testing. Pacquiao wouldn't agree to it. That was always thrown out there as the excuse. So I just, that's my problem with Mayweather. Historically great fighter. But when you duck people, you don't get to go on the marquee with Ali and Ray Robinson.
The formal introduction, Michael Wilbon, ESPN NBA analyst and, pardon the interruption, co-host. I made up some T-shirts, Mike. I made up Harden the Interruption for James Harden.
Are you a Harden guy? Do you vote? Did you vote for Harden for MVP?
No. Once I left the mothership, they took my vote.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, pretty tough.
Harsh.
Yeah, well, when Stern stepped down.
Sort of harsh.
Yeah. Do you have a vote?
I do.
Okay. I said Steph Curry won it in the first 2 months of the season. Now, if Houston ends as the number 2 seed, first of all, I have no problem. If they gave it to Harden, I'd have no problem. I even said to James that Steph's going to win the MVP. But I would have no problem whatsoever, and I could make a really strong case of what he did, the true value of what James Harden did for that team. Steph Curry was the best player on the best team, and and maybe the best story. And we know writers love a great story, and Steph Curry's a great story this year.
Well, I voted for Steph Curry, but there's no way I would argue against James Harden, not for a second. I mean, James Harden had this one thing on the resume to me. When you play without your primary wingman, or the guy who's supposed to be that, Dwight Howard, for half the season, I mean, that's just another notch for you. Steph Curry, though, people say, well, here's what they would be without him. I mean, I'm just like, stop. That team is great because Steph Curry is as great as he is. And I voted for Steph Curry. I could have voted for James Harden. This was one of those years where those guys, pick one. There's not that much difference between them. I think Steph Curry, Dan, and I don't know how you feel about this. We haven't talked about this. It's possible he's the best shooter in the history of professional basketball right now. Yeah. At 20, whatever he is, 6 or 7. It's possible. He's done that much already. And I'm just, I want to slap down anything where somebody jumps to one of those. Whatever happens today is the greatest. But Curry, I would let that stand. I think I believe that.
Who is the best shooter? If Curry's not, the best shooter of all time in NBA history is?
Well, I always thought, Rick Barry, and I know the percentages won't back it up, and there was no three-point shot for most of Rick's career to use that as evidence. But, Rick Barry, to me, and that may just be, given he played during my, childhood, formative years, teenage years, and Barry was sort of a god in that way. But I think Rick Barry, Bird can certainly be, and Bird's was more clutch. Again, we don't have the three people. Well, the the three-point shot was around for Larry Bird, but people didn't shoot it. They didn't use it. The game wasn't played that way. So but Rick Barry, I think. Who do you think who would you have as the number one guy?
I think Ray Allen's the greatest shooter I've ever seen.
You know what? I'm not going to argue against that either. Ray Allen would be right there for me.
But I think, Peja Stojakovic is one of the greatest shooters of all time, too. I mean, there's guys that they would make 50 in a row.
Yeah.
I'm surprised when they miss. That's how great they are. Now, do I want the ball in Reggie Miller's hands at the end of a game? Yes.
And Reggie's on that list, short list too.
But if you said, we're gonna build the perfect jump shot here, I'm gonna start with Ray Allen and say follow this formula, and you'll never go wrong. So I would say Ray. I thought Dale Ellis was one of the great shooters.
I was gonna add Dale Ellis, and I have to go back. You know what? Dan, we're doing this in a way now that the metrics and the advanced analytics people would strike us down. They want lightning to come out and just kill us both. We're doing this without benefit of number. We are going off of impressions, but impressions built over a period of years.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, I have no idea sitting here now, like, how Dale Ellis's numbers measure. My image of him is that Dale Ellis talk about how to build a perfect jump shot. That Dale Ellis is in that small group.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, my memory of this is these guys now break down all the analytics, maybe a little too much for my liking. He's Michael Wilbon from Pardon the Interruption joining us. Is Oklahoma City a good job, Mike?
Wow. I think under certain circumstances, it's like the Utah Jazz. I mean, the Utah Jazz was a good job when they had Stockton and Malone. But, I mean, before or since, I think you have to have those two guys. And Dan, there's so much around Kevin Durant that you have to wonder about. I mean, just his general health. What are we looking at here with Kevin Durant? How much is he going to be out there? And does he want to stay? Does he want to come home? I mean, the Washington Wizards they're built. Everything the Wizards do and have done for the last year is to set up to have the greatest amount of cap room possible for Kevin Durant to go after him to bring him home. Now, I don't know whether that appeals to Durant. I know that did not appeal to Durant 3 and 4 years ago because he was just not in a space where he wanted to come home and have all the people just glomming onto him that would do that. But you get older, and there's a different emotion about coming home. But I don't know where Durant is with that. But if he leaves, do you want just Westbrook? Is Westbrook and what you build around him enough to make it a good job? I mean, I think the condition is very much like Utah. I think you got to have both players.
When you host a show, and you and Tony on there every single night, there are topics that you have to go back to. There are topics that you go, I have to talk about this today. Now, I got 3 hours to fill. You guys got a half hour. But when you see the topic bar Tim Tebow, how do you react?
I'm okay with it, Dan. That's this is a good one. I'm okay with Tebow for this reason. I think there's something sinister about Tebow not having been in pro football the last season. Was it 2 seasons or 1 season? Was he out completely 2 years ago? No, I guess he wasn't. I guess it was just something sinister about it to me. They're bums with the position around the league as second and third string.
But did the media cost him, Mike? The coverage of Tebow?
No, you know what, Dan? The answer to your question may be yes, but if NFL executives are that weak, then what the hell are we talking about? Really? If they're that weak, I mean, you mean to tell me you can't set up a situation where you can't stomach seeing a few reporters around? I mean, come on.
But then you're always going to have somebody, if your quarterback doesn't play well, then you're going to, you thinking about Tebow here?
It's going to happen anyway. It happens anyway, and the backups aren't worthy of playing. Tim Tebow won a playoff game. And by the way, I give in to all the arguments about he can't throw the ball, he can't pass. I don't care about that stuff. Again, we're talking metrics. Did he win the game? Why do we play? I mean, he won the games. He led his team. My God, there are people playing backup quarterback who can't lead their teams.
The only way I would have him is if the extra point can be placed at the 1 yard line. I would have him for that. I would go for a 2-point conversion after every single touchdown if I'm the Eagles.
And maybe the Eagles won't have him. I just want to have a chance. I want him to have a chance. I am a Tebow fan. I don't care if he's polarizing. I don't care about the other stuff. And we know what the other stuff is. Religion.
But why is Michael Sam getting a fair shake?
Oh, now there you go. When I said I think it's sinister that Tebow is not in the league or didn't have the chance, I think it's sinister that Michael Sam wasn't last year. Sinister. I think that there are a great many NFL club executives who obviously can hide behind his 40 time. And he's a borderline player.
Yep.
He's borderline. So, yeah, I acknowledge that going in. He's the only one? Well, he's the one? He's the one borderline guy? I'm really skeptical about individual. The NFL can do whatever it wants, Dan. Teams can do whatever they want. They are above questioning. I don't mean that somebody won't literally ask it, but they're above it all. And they're the number one form of sport and entertainment in this country, and whatever they do, most people are going to swallow.
You want me to send you a Harden the Interruption T-shirt?
I like that.
All right. I don't know if Tony. Should I send one to Tony or just Tony?
I'm leaving that to you. You can send me one.
All right, I'll have Fritzy send out a couple of Harden the Interruption T-shirts. Keep stirring it up, Mike. Good to talk to you, buddy.
Dan, thanks for having me, man. It's good to talk to you.
Michael Wilbon from ESPN NBA analyst, Pardon the Interruption co-host.